They check your phone just to be sure.
Just to be sure.
What is the most underrated advice you find on social media?
Love takes effort. Happy relationships take effort.
It should be mandatory to understand your childhood patterns. We all look for emotional security in a relationship. It's a foundation. Trust, security, to be understood.
Obviously, there'll be a gap, right? Whether it's an expressive partner or an inexpressive partner, there will be a gap. It's always good to ask your partner, hey, are you feeling up to, discussing a few important things that we can and that will help our relationship?
What is real communication? Is it just talking? Is it just spending time together?
It begins with real listening.
How do two busy professional couple take out time to communicate with each other?
They need to do it exactly how they do their work. Set out time on their calendar as us days or us hours.
Here's a popular myth that we all grew up thriving on because Bollywood really pushes it in our face. That is, love is easy. Love needs to be super comfortable. There needs to be no fights. And in fact, it needs to be effortless. But in reality, true love and real love are far more different. Modern day love is another ballgame altogether. It's messy, it's gooey, it's real, and the dilemmas are often not spoken about. So here we are in the Relationship Edit Season 2. My name is Dr. Aradata, and we are talking about everything that you should be knowing about relationships, but families don't talk about it. We are not taught in school, and we surely need to address it, because if we don't grow emotionally, then how do we really grow in a relationship? I'm not doing that alone. With me, I have the wonderful Ayushi Mathur. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Dr. Era.
Ayushi is the perfect amalgamation of emotional intelligence, of teaching people the right communication tools that one needs in a relationship, and she is an NLP life coach. Please introduce yourself, Ayushi. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Ayushi Mathur, and exactly what you were talking about, right? That's what I do when I work with people. When people realize in their relationships that love is not effortless, I help them navigate through the challenges as a coach for them. Yeah.
Lovely. We're so happy to see her, but we're going to get her warmed up. And I'm going to get you warmed up with a game, which is anyway a very popular trend on social media. People are often labeling each other as red flag, green flag, and beige flag. So let's get our flag and let's get the game started.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're here with our most favorite segment. That is the green flag, which is great behavior that partners should endorse, keep, and definitely compliment. The red flag, stay away from this behavior. And we have the beautiful beige flag, behavior that is human. It's normal quirks. We don't really need to label them as red or green. There you go, Ayushi.
Thank you.
So I'm going to tell you a behavior, and please feel free to tell us which flag it is. They read your messages, but they reply many hours later.
They read your messages.
They left you at scene.
If it's purposefully, then it's a red flag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can it also be human behavior? Maybe they're busy?
It can be, for sure. But if it's repeated and it's done on purpose to seem distant and cold, then definitely it's a red flag.
I like that. So look for consistency.
Yeah.
Because if it's one-off, it's one-off. But if it's regular, could be a red flag. Great. They apologize first after a fight.
Oh, wow. Green flag. I wish, right?
Everybody's dream, correct? They compare your relationship to the other friends' relationships often.
Ooh, definitely a red flag because there's no joy in comparison.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Absolutely.
100% agree. They check your phone just to be sure.
Just to be sure.
What are you up to?
Well, I would say red flag. If they're repeating this behavior, that means there's a lack of trust from their end.
True.
And yeah, that could be a red flag in the long run.
And you have to help us build that trust today in the conversation that we are having. What about we rarely fight? We never fight.
We never fight.
Rarely.
We never fight. That's a couple red flag because you can't be two individuals
Correct.
living together and never disagreeing or fighting, then one of you is definitely suppressing their emotions and needs.
Absolutely. They sometimes leave their towel on the bed. Wet towel.
I do that. I think that's beige.
Let's normalize leaving towels on the bed sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Thank you. Let's get started with the harder parts now that we've got the flags out of the way. Ayushi, Cindy Hazen has said that adult romantic relationships are just simply a mirror of their childhood, what has happened in their families, with their parental figures, how the nurturing was, how the bond was. How do you see that playing out in adult relationships, in romantic relationships?
That will definitely be true for individuals who haven't done the work, who haven't worked on themselves, who haven't paused to identify their patterns, paused to identify their relationship with their parents, and how what they're actually looking for from a partner is actually a big reflection of what they didn't get or got from their parents or their primary or secondary caregiver. And it plays out a lot in everyday life, you'll see, especially for individuals who have never gone to a professional to work on their patterns, what they're seeing, their behavior, their anger, their avoidance, could be anything. What they do is, while we are growing up, right, we learn about love from our caregivers. So it could be our parents. For most of us, it is our parents. And we learn about human behavior looking at them, right?
Absolutely.
Because in the first few years, we don't understand language as such. So we look at their behavior, look at their energy, look at their presence and not presence also when they're not around us. And we learn what it means to be cared for, to be loved. And if unfortunately someone's parents were not very available, not very expressive, cold or distant, or for whatever reason they were not around, the person learns love to be that way also. So either they're going to turn out, like in an example, they'll turn out either chasing love and always looking for that presence and attention, or they're going to turn out to be completely distant. And anytime someone would try to get closer to them, they'll feel, oh, this is uncomfortable because I've never experienced this. So I would say it plays out a lot in many relationships, especially if the individuals and the couple together haven't put an effort to understand all of this.
Absolutely. It should be mandatory to understand your childhood patterns, in my opinion.
I
If
wish.
only. Right? At the same time, there's a popular saying that, it's a Freudian saying for that matter, that girls are attracted to men like their fathers and boys are attracted to women like their mothers. Do you think we really look for our parent or parental figure and that nurturing in our partners?
Knowingly or unknowingly, sometimes we do. Because again, according to Gestalt psychology also, a lot of psychologists talk about what is our first introduction to the other gender.
Correct.
Right? So when did we find out in our lives that this is a man and this is a woman, right? And most of the time it is from our parents or maybe sibling at max.
That's right.
Right? So if your definition of a man for the first 7-10 years was just your father, then all those wirings in your brain
It's solid.
are wired to look at men that way. That, okay, this is what a man is. And it happens, right? It's going to show up if however your father was as a woman, you're going to unknowingly be attracted to men who mimic that behavior in some way or the other.
I agree. And that we see that so often in therapy or in coaching, that people talk about their partners and then you ask them about their families and there's a eureka moment in their own heads, like a light bulb goes off. Correct?
Absolutely.
As you were mentioning, that you can either become extremely anxious or avoidant. And again, I'm not labeling people in those pure boxes, but we all look for emotional security in a relationship. It's a foundation, trust, security, to be understood. It's a human desire to be wanted, to be understood, to be cared for. How can I get my partner who may not be very expressive or emotionally available all the time to understand my needs without making them feel suffocated? This is a common question that people ask.
And it's a common pattern you'll see in many relationships, especially in our society. And if you look at genders that way, right? Women, from when we are little girls, we are told that it's okay to express. If we cry, if we express a certain set of emotions, then everyone would be like, oh, that's okay, I'm here for you, and all of that. But one of the most common things that is talked about, thankfully, nowadays is that, men hear this a lot when they're younger, that, oh, boys don't cry, boys don't do this, boys don't do that, right?
Yes.
Be a man, right? Similarly, women are told that, oh, good girls don't shout, yell, or feel anger, or express anger at least. So
Correct.
there are a lot of emotions that are labeled or kept aside for a specific gender. And what that does is when two adults come together in a couple, it's sort of everything that you were told not to feel is what your partner is feeling.
True.
Right? Because they were told it's okay to feel that, and they were told it's not okay to feel that. So obviously there'll be a gap, right? Whether it's an expressive partner or an inexpressive partner, there will be a gap. And I saw that in my own relationship when I got married.
Do share.
And one of the things that has helped a lot is communication, talking about it again and again. Like, my partner came from a family that does not discuss emotions very openly, whereas my family is completely opposite. I think we make up conflict for fun, right?
Okay.
It's like our favorite pastime to talk about emotions. So to bridge that gap, we talk more and more about it. Only when we're both ready to talk about it. Obviously, consent is very important. I can't just go there and be like, no, you know what? You're going to talk about emotions with me today. It's always good to ask your partner, hey, are you feeling up to, discussing a few important things that we can, and that will help our relationship? Yeah.
Beautiful. I think you're answering part of what I'm going to ask next. That is, everybody says that, oh, I talk to my partner, I communicate, but my partner feels it's not enough. Also, what is real communication? Is it just talking? Is it just spending time together? How do you help couples navigate that bridge between what is communication, how do we communicate better, and really, is it just verbal, or is there other ways to communicate as well?
So I'll pick up on the term that you used, real communication, right? It begins with real listening, right? Are you listening to just check it off the list? Oh, I've been listening to you. I'm here. I'm listening to you. Or are you listening to actually understand and learn more about your partner? I compare it to machine learning a lot.
Okay.
That this is a human that you've decided to pair up with. You're going to spend the rest of your life learning data sets about them, obviously, because there's so much to a human brain, right?
That's beautiful.
And so, are you listening to learn, or are you listening to just be a listener? That is number one. Second, communication is an art, right? It's an art and science both, actually. There are steps to it as well. Like I said earlier, consent is very important. You can talk about fun things here and there, maybe even gossip. That's recommended, that couples gossip. But the thing is, when it comes to serious things, emotions, needs, family, in-laws, things like that, there has to be consent between the two, that, hey, are we both in the right headspace to sit and talk about this, and how much time are we ready to give it? If we agree upon that mutually, it becomes so much easier to actually be more vulnerable, talk about the real things more.
Since we're talking about childhood and we're talking about how not identifying one's own patterns, not working on our own self can lead to so much conflict in a relationship, what advice do you have? How do we approach it? What does a common person watching this do to explore their childhood, to explore their vulnerabilities, to explore their attachment styles or relationship better?
Start with looking at your relationship with your parents, right? And not a lot of people are able to do that easily, because in our culture, our parents are also put on a pedestal with somewhere near God.
Absolutely
right?
correct.
So we're not able to really audit our relationship with our parents as such. But I would say what you can do is take time out with yourself, and after an interaction with your mother, let's say, think about it. Okay, how did this make me feel? What did she say that might have made me feel a little uncomfortable, or that made me feel loved, that made me feel something that I don't feel with someone else, right? Asking yourself these simple questions about your own feelings around your parents, that would really help to start understanding the patterns you have with your parents.
Lovely. I think everybody can take out time for that. Next time after an interaction or phone call, sit down with a paper and pen. Just observe how it shows up in your body, how it shows up in your mind, and what the interaction left you thinking about, even from your childhood. There's so many times the current conversation takes us back to our childhood.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow, that got heavy. We're going to play one more game to lighten up our moods. Ayushi, if you had to tell us, what are the top most overrated and underrated advices you find on social media?
The top most overrated advice on social media is labeling people according to their attachment styles. Oh, this person's anxious, that person's avoidant, this person's disorganized, all of that.
True.
That's not good to label people, because people are so much more than just boxes or labels. So look at people as gray rather than black and white.
Absolutely. And what's the most underrated advice?
The most underrated advice would be that love takes a lot of work. It definitely does, especially sustained love. If you want to be married to your partner for the rest of your life, for the next 50 years, you're going to have to put in a lot of effort and work. You can't run away from that.
Don't be afraid to do the heavy lifting.
Yes.
Agreed. This one is a very important one for the busy professionals. How do two busy professional couple take out time to communicate with each other?
They need to do it exactly how they do their work, which is set out time on their calendar as us days or us hours, where there's nothing else, no other distraction, no phones, no clients, nothing else, and just them talking, playing a game, could be anything, but it's an us hour, and we honor that, and they need to honor that.
Lovely. So block your calendars, find an us time or even an us day, and communicate, do the talking. Thanks. There's more coming about relationship, and especially about the unheard, unspoken truths around marriages and how to make them work. Stay tuned for the second part. We'll be back with Ayushi.